Empirical practice, a practical communion, the Trinity. I had the pleasure to record a deep conversation with my friends Ebony Horn, sound artist, and Ellery James Roberts, a poet, songwriter, and the former frontman of the infamous Woo Life. Links. I was recently invited as a guest on their new podcast, and we spoke about a subject dear to my heart: shadow work. Around 2 years ago, while still in lockdown, I was part of Rebel Wisdom, a digital community that offered an array of psychotechnologies to practice sense making, where we met, discovered we share many interests, and thus have established a deeper bond where we have created an ongoing dialogue. Both Ebony and Ellery are gifted artists, and both are very committed to their evolutionary journey, both individually and as life partners, under their collaborative project Lost Under Heaven. Love. They recently launched their third album, with which they have courageously gone independent and which was funded and distributed by their Patreon community and themselves as they integrate a sovereign take to their lives. I love that we can support and inspire each other. Therefore, I would like to share with you, my friends. Here's the link to the podcast. The wars, they will be fought again. The holy dove, she will be caught again, bought and sold, and bought again. The dove is never free. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Anthem, Leonard Cohen. I invite you to listen to the podcast and then come back to the rest of the article and take time to digest the information. We are each synthesizing and processing these transformative times at different levels, and I wish for you to have a community that can support your individual needs. May the light shine upon the crack. 10-second silence for the podcast. The definition of empiric: pertaining to or derived from experience or experiments. Comes from Greek, empirikos, experience. Practice is a verb, and it means to follow or employ, a course of action. It also comes from Greek, and it means done, to do, act, effect, accomplish, come to an end, succeed. Validating experience, proof of work, the courage to be oneself. I like the word validation because it refers to a practice that is observed, noted, and verified. It could start with a doubt, finds a thesis, looks for the antithesis, and may arrive at the synthesis by way of observation, an action that will lead to a validation. All this may sound like the truth, but it is a temporary validation in that specific time frame for the person who has gone through the steps of the trouble of verification. Basically, the above description is how I learn and study new themes that range from philosophical problems to psychological queries, and many times they carry an emotional component. The interesting thing is that emotions can't be proven nor validated per se. They can be experienced in a specific time frame. One cannot make sense of them in a flash of a second, as they clearly depend on relational values, conditions, and states of being. Therefore, validating emotional arousals implies one has the capacity to observe what is arising, give it space and time, to see the wave rise and fall more than once to determine just one question. Is this true? Oh yes, I feel it. Where in the body do you sense this feeling? Not, why am I feeling this? If I go down that rabbit hole of whys, I will never end. But if I give space to where it is felt in the now, I can open a place for the feeling to be felt in a new perspective. In summary, this is part of what I call one of my somatic practices pertaining to the body that I follow when I notice triggers and how I validate the shadow practice in real time. Yet, in my humble opinion, one must find ways to have this operate in a way that yields an evolution towards integrating the original pain or trauma, not rubbing on earlier wounds and perceiving the pain as a new memory. For memory is a funny thing. I am all about practice. My mind was not made for academic loops, and I have no patience for proving these theories that other people write and speak about without not having tested them myself. That may be why this blog is not just about evolutionary astrology or just about human design alone or just about Bitcoin or just about one specific subject. It is not about any specialization per se. It is about my observations and practices from different perspectives. This is who I am, always evolving, how my body shows me the way, and my mind operates in a very reflective, abstract way, and it becomes logical only when needed. I add subscribers and I lose them from time to time as I can imagine the difficulty of grasping my sharings. This space is very personal, yet speaks about universal truths. Practical communion. Currently, I am running various empirical experiments. One-on-one ongoing study group with my friend Thomas. What started as a session to practice and learn trading techniques and know more about crypto became a life experience integrating not just numbers, formulas, indicators, and techniques that follow the quadrivium, but a commitment to education, community, and to service, and to the consciousness of the Bitcoin network, not crypto, that currently refers to quick gains similar to a casino run and speculation. Crypto also is known as a shitcoin. Number two, facilitating small groups of human design practice, getting to know who we are and how we operate through our design, a beautiful journey to deconditioning. As we observe and practice in our bodies, life unfolds and we support each other. Three, this blog is part of a writing experiment that will shape into various forms in the near future and also serves me as a reflective tool, a way to manifest an internal dialogue. The above are diverse ways of how I manifest impact when I am not creating permanent artwork experiences for the public spaces. Can you take some time apart to meditate on your empirical practices? Are you running your life looking for mental answers to your logical questions or justifying your life with static statements? Can you make space for your body's experience in real time? Losing touch. What happens when one spends time and resources building a structure that might support the aspects in life that can contain one's needs, and in it, the span of a lifetime that may secure the goods that are the result of services? And in that process, there is no human contact but mostly separation, a hierarchy created by promoting and demoting roles to superficially contain the tribe. The fear of not having enough resources, controlling outcomes with assumptions, a sudden desire to create outcomes that may contain communities with outdated forms. One loses touch, sensitivity, an awareness of something. One is tactless, as in without touch. There is barely a human component of care. You see, humans, we show care with hugs, kindness, with sensibility. Look at how we treat and greet our pets, but at times forgo this awareness, devoid of the principles and virtues of kindness, gratitude, humility, honesty, and generosity for one another. And for what? The emotional wave is perceived slightly differently according to the necessity. The emotional wave has been felt traveling from doubt to grace, a sense of familiar touch, to the spikes of individual melodramas from which arises a desire that creates expectations in the collective behavior. The Sun, together with Mercury, dissolves in Neptunian muddy waters at gate 36. They're in a tight square by newly awakened Mars in Gemini, the Earth grounding at gate 6, confrontation. The expression is one of resolution as the crisis is a decision that must be made. One way or another, it triggers a response. And if the wave is part of a bigger process, and not just an expectation, whatever arises in awareness is the potential of true compassion and liberation. The best answer to confrontation is disengagement, not lack of tact. Knowing how to respond emotionally in the face of conflict and creating space and time is crucial. Any crisis can shift from the darkness into the light, and voicing those needs becomes a tactful art, the art of touch. The ultimate defense is emptiness. This is the essence of the wisdom taught by the great sages, the Jinkies Richard Rod. Then there is a meme that I created, and it says, what is your degree of denial at the moment? What is your degree of awareness regarding values from 0 to 360? To which degree are you willing to re-educate yourself? Big week coming up. A reset at many levels, the equinox, on not being so radical anymore. Before Uranus transited over my Jupiter, Sun, and Mercury in early 2018 through 2021, I will be one of the most radical, stubborn, I am always right kind of people. I'm still radical in how I do things, but not so much in how I hold on to ideals. As listening to new perspectives became a major practice, the way to freedom for holding on to truths is an unsustainable, arrogant, and foolish way to protect ignorance. The not wanting to explore newer points of views that might enrich one's life. I have grown to be more open to other people's views, thus, my spectrum has widened tremendously. I will have the transiting Jupiter conjunct the north node of my natal Jupiter squaring Pluto and supported by a sextile of Saturn in upcoming months. This will open an additional opportunity to embrace more intuitive knowing and practicing being in the now, for I know I can trust my body to respond. I basically use my mind to learn and my body to practice what I know. This is my embodiment, no longer being a truth seeker. I am excited about what challenges this transit will bring, not just to me, but to the collective. As Pluto is asking to keep meeting face to face with inner fears in the way I or we can openly express mine or our ideologies that direct us to a new resources of wisdom. In Gate 27, the North Node is the focus of nurturing and self care before depleting resources. The energies are stressing to achieve openness and expansion creatively. Do I have to abide by fixed ways of thinking? Can I stay in a state of flux and adapt as the world keeps changing and offering more challenges in the most mundane way? Does this make me flaky? Or does this give me the ultimate potential to evolve every day, all the time? Can we stay open to new ways of thinking and practices that with time can yield financial independence from corrupted institutions? Pluto is still in my 12th house of the unconscious. Since 2010, when it entered this part of my chart, it slowly offered a way for me to integrate the self with how I perceive this reality, my ego. It has gradually offered ways to dissolve old fixity while at the same time offering the opportunity to learn so many new ideas and practices. Jupiter, the Sun, and Mercury are on my third house in Taurus. The value I give to expanding information through knowledge is my biggest resource of joy. And my moon in Scorpio being in my ninth house makes sure I embody emotionally these opportunities as a way of life. My 11th house, ruled by Sagittarius, loves to share this with my peers. Hence, what is about to unfold is even more openness to the views of others, so I can integrate and collaborate in collective practices. At the same time, I embody a perspective that is in constant flux, intuitive knowing to trust what is best at the moment, looking at the past only to reassure that I cannot hold on to anything as the tangibility of the world keeps crumbling. Saturn in Pisces framework is also flexible and requires depth and willingness to dissolve and let go of the old decaying ways, preparing humanity for a new era. The equinox offers a fascinating individuated opportunity to not only heal our relationship to individual courage, but also offers a clear validation of expanding the notion of finding our individual way through practice. Who am I, and how can I embody this intention? The new moon in Aries begins a new cycle. Take time and contemplate how it feels. This new me, this I am free and sovereign. Do spend some time feeling it as if it is a done deal already through the power of your imagination and be grateful, for time is an illusion. Venus just entered Taurus, the last round as a ruler of the current North Node. Looking back at all the words I have written about needs and values, basically, this space was born when the nodes entered this axis back in January 2022. Essential needs create healthy relationships. Venus on my Jupiter is valuing and validating all these words. What do you value today that you did not value 13 months ago? What new skills do you have now that can be part of your resources in the times coming? What are you interested in contributing to the world? Pluto will change signs on the 23rd after 2.5 centuries. Check this date, 0323-2023. It starts squaring the nodal axis. Which direction is your personal transformation leading you to implement the values learned, and how much impact will they have around you? While I write this, the whole financial system has gone belly up. When Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, the beginning of the part of this cycle that is now ending began. The Bitcoin white paper was a radical result of the financial crisis that ended up in printing more banknotes and bailing out irresponsible bankers. Sounds familiar? Bitcoin is a teenager, almost at half a Saturn cycle. The Saturn opposition is coming. It is starting to show some independence and eagerness to emancipate. It will start integrating the shadows that are so evident now by 2026. Next week, Jupiter at 16 degrees of Aries will be at the same place it was in 2011, early spring. Fukushima nuclear disaster. When Uranus enters Aries, the same point where the new moon will be. In April 2011, Neptune had just entered Pisces, where now Saturn sits. 2 days later, Pluto will enter Zero Aquarius, where Saturn and Jupiter met back in December 2020. Whenever outside planets change signs, a shift happens, and the repetitions of the same degrees have resonance in the frequency. I will write about this in depth in the next installments. We are at the eye of the storm, so breathe, trust, and let go. The old and the new are no longer colliding, they have merged and are dissolving. Whatever feels like a resistance is pointing where you must surrender. Multiple timelines are being perceived. The threshold is wider and choices are made. By 2027, there will be a clear before and after. Saturn's proof of work is to create a framework that sustains what really holds true as your I am or individuality consolidates and validates your place in this new society. Jupiter and the new moon on the 21st of March create the channel of awakening in human design, Gets 2551. A design to be first and a brief opportunity for those who can have both the identity, energy center, and the heart center activated by this transit. From all the circuits that connect to the heart that are tribal in nature, a hierarchy that protects the resources of the clan for survival, this channel is an individual one. The mastery is in the self. Integrate those shadows, my friends. Gate 51 rules the gallbladder and liver, where toxins are processed. Any bile or ill will need a deep cleanse, allowing the arousal to trigger attention to how to embody your uniqueness with courage and finally be unattached from situations, people, or things that are no longer relevant. Run for your life. Become fully sovereign, has been my mantra. Awakening means realizing that the dream of the life you think you know as true may well not be so. This energy initiates the urge to be oneself as a survival need. It is a manifestor channel that connects the principle of love with the power of a thunderbolt, zapping you to a state of clarity. Lots of tumbling and rumbling happening in the financial sphere of our lives. For 30 months, I have been writing about values, needs, and the urgency to let go of all ways of confronting fears, addictions, and working on trauma. At times, I sound like a broken record. I have been pointing towards the value that education and practical knowledge can bring forth, on learning to be more authentic and autonomous using curiosity as a vessel, on the way to freedom via accountability. I have certainly created a path of openness. For those who are curious about how to engage deeper into these questions, I have created a channel with daily articles that I read and learn from on the financial side. Focus on technologies that support sovereignty at all levels. The name of the channel in Telegram is called Education is Currency, and there's a link. It is not financial advice, but mostly sharing information. You do the math, you integrate your journey. Remember this mantra: I am on my own, but not alone. As I aim to remain less arrogant and kinder, so is my daily intention to be of service. I fully believe that I can trust my heart to keep inspiring you all to go deeper and to do your proof of work, your shadow work, your empirical practice. Be brave, be bold, and be joyous. Nothing really matters. Only love unites humanity, as my friends from Lost Under Heaven remind us of this truth. May I be happy, may I be well, may I be safe, may I be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy, may you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. This is a meta practice, love and kindness. Synchronicities. As I finish the designs for our presentation, I have at least 10 different versions of Lou Reed's Satellite of Love playing in the loop. There's a link to the playlist. And I pause and I find this beautiful news. Lou's book, The Art of the Straight Line, on his practice of Tai Chi Chuan, was recently published with a beautiful interview with Laurie Anderson. I leave it here, so link. Quote, not to get too flowery here, but I want more out of life than a gold record and fame. I want to mature like a warrior. I want the power of grace I never had a chance to learn. Tai Chi puts you in touch with the invisible power of, yes, the universe. The best energies become available as soon as your body and mind become an invisible power. Lou Reed from an original letter published by the New York Times, October 25th, 2010. Then there's a beautiful picture of him doing some fists, Tai Chi. I find a connection to 20 years ago when I quit smoking all kinds of stuff and devoted time to becoming a Taoist disciple, practicing all its cosmology, Tai Chi Chuan, Feng Shui, calligraphy, Qigong, acupuncture, TCM, and the I Ching with Taoist Shifus at home back in New York City. It was the act of remembering my past lives as a Chinese warrior. All this knowledge is the core of my multiple practices. Then I just put 3 images. One is notes from Lou Reed Tai Chi notebook from The Art of a Straight Line. It's a beautiful copy. And then I went and I looked for my notes. And so I just put 2 pictures of Monica Bravo's sketchbooks from 2004 and 2005 in preparation for the interactive time-based installation called No Name, Frequency and Repetition, an interactive piece based on the I Ching. Hello, Leonard. Bye-bye, Lou. Have a great week, everybody. The energies are very, very strong, but you got your own back if you're doing the homework. Take care.